嗨，大家好，我是 BOB。我从02年开始就在多伦多从事电工材料的采购和销售，期间结识了许多优秀的电工朋友，和他们一起合作完成了许多电工项目。在这个频道里面，我主要是和大家一起分享这么多年来电工材料的采购、安装和使用心得，以及一些电工朋友在安装这些材料时候的喜怒哀乐。
Okay, first of all, the kilowatt hours and the voltage. That's all I asked it to show. If I asked it to show the current, every time I cycled that, it would show me the various variables. If I had it set for three-phase, it would show me all three voltages, all three currents, all three power factors. You can get to the point, if you're only interested in the kilowatt hours, it's kind of confusing. They have to cycle through all of the variables. This way, if you only want to look at energy, just set it up for energy. Okay? Okay, is that clear? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. As you can see, it's not very complicated at all. Okay, so I can show you the software.
Sit down.
A minute here.
Yeah.
But again, I recommend you have this manual here. Most of the stuff is of no consequence. This is the main thing. 1, 2, 3 pages. That's all they need to know to configure the meter. Okay. And then you've got the software here as well. Okay?
No, this is glass.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a software. What we call it is the UCS, Universal Configuration Software. Okay, so you can grab that from our website. Okay, so you know how to use and set up these type things. Sometimes you have to go and find the driver for it, but usually you can just plug it in. It'll recognize it exactly, and then it'll assign a COM port. So I think this is set for COM port 3. So do you know how to look at the device number and how to find your COM ports on your?
Yeah.
Okay, you already know how to do that?
Device manager.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So what we can do here is we can go offline, and I'm going to delete this. Okay, so one way we can do is we can add a meter. Okay. And that's going to be EM50. And I've got the MA51, which is the 80 milliamp input. And I add that, and that's it. Okay. Okay, so I can change all my parameters I want. Okay, so let's go to here. Okay, so let's pick something up here. So here's where I had the display. So what I said was, let me just, I'm going to do this a different way. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to say display. Okay, so I want to show the voltage, and I want to show the current on the front display. Okay. Electrical system. Okay, so I'm just going to save that. Okay, so it hasn't saved it to the meter, it's just saving it on the desktop here. The electrical system. Okay, here you can say, so the primary was 200 amps. Okay, the secondary is 80 milliamp. Okay, voltage transformer, I'm just going to change that to 400. Okay, if you're using it on 220, you can keep it at 220, it doesn't really matter, but usually I just put it at 400. Okay, save.
As long as we don't use this PT transformer, we can keep it at...
Just keep it at 400 all the
yeah,
time.
400.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, there's a lot of other stuff you can do. Digital output, okay. So if you wanted a relay output for an alarm, okay. And then what you can do here is you can go into a virtual alarm, okay. Okay, so I just enable it. Okay, it's a level output, and I just set the alarm. So the volt, let's see that. Okay, so I enable the alarm, the output is enabled, and then I just pick the variable. So if I wanted to say the voltage, okay, so I could say the voltage, line 1 to neutral. Okay, so if it's greater than, I don't know, 100 volts, turn on the output. Okay. And then you can also have a time delay as well if you want to delay it 5 seconds. And then you just click save. Metering, okay, we've already got this thing. Remember we said you could pick measurement side, either primary or secondary. Demand calculation, do you know what demand is? Okay, so kilowatt, sometimes when you get billed from Hydro, you get billed for kilowatt, and you also get kilowatt hours, and you also get a demand. Okay.
What demand is for the
Yeah, so what they do is
the capacity, what do they need?
Yeah, so what they do is they integrate the kilowatts over a period of time.
Yeah.
And typically it's either a fixed window or a sliding window. If it's a fixed window, typically it's 15 minutes. That's what we use here. Now you can have it calculate at 15 minutes, wait another 15 minutes, or you can have it do the first 15 minutes and then every minute after that it updates. So either one. Okay, so right now I just set it for fixed window. And that. Okay, so once you've done all your parameters, okay, you check that, what you can do is you can click on that, and I'm going to write it to the meter. Okay, so this is COM3.
COM3, yeah.
Okay, and again, it's 9600, one stop. We'll apply. Okay, so it's done.
You want to connect to the Wi-Fi?
No.
No, you don't need to know.
Or you should-
Okay, so now it's updated the display.
All set up.
Okay, so now if we look at it and we cycle through, we can see the now we can see the amperage as well on the display there. Okay. And I think I set it for 3-phase. So now that I've set it for 3-phase, you can get line 1, line 2, line 3 voltages, line 1 current, line 2 current, line 3 current. You can see that if you add a lot of them, you have to scroll through quite a few in order to get a kilowatt hour. Okay, so if you only want to show the kilowatt hour, you can turn off all the other variables. Okay, what we can also do with this is we can go to connection. I can just directly connect to it. Okay. Where was it here? So I know that's 1, so I can, if you don't know the address, you can put 1 to 200 and it would actually find it for you, but for now I know it's 1, so. Okay, and then I should be able to connect to that. Okay. Okay. So now you can notice that I can actually
Okay.
view the information on there as well. So there's the voltage. So 124.7, and then you can see it communicating there. And then if you look at the voltage on this, it's so 123.9, 123.9. So you can view it on there. You can also look at your power and your energy. Okay, so obviously we don't have any voltage, we don't have any current, so we're going to have 0 energy. Okay. The other thing you can do from here is you can go in and you can actually reset the kilowatt hours if you want to. Because usually people don't want that built into the meter because you don't want people resetting your kilowatt hours. So what we did is you have to do it via here. Okay. That's on here or not. So if you go down to reset, okay, and then you can go in and reset whatever you want to reset. Okay.
This setting parameter can be saved to a file, right?
Yeah.
Every meter you can save it.
Yeah, once you've done this, it automatically saves it. So once you've done a meter there, if I look into offline, this will always be there. When I close it and come back in again, it'll always be
You can
there.
reload it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not a big deal. You can just add a meter and you can
Yeah.
do it that way. Or
So
you can
if
do
you have 10
manual
meter
connection. Yeah.
you can do a one file and then load.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
For this kind of meter, can you do like a sub-metering system? For example, I have a plaza, I have a 10 commercial unit. Each unit 100 and 600 volt.
Yeah, when we do
You
something
still
like
use
that.
this kind of unit?
Yeah, so you're going to have these ones here, but we have it's called the UWP. It's like a data concentrator / web server.
Okay.
And what that lets you do is have technically up to 100 meters
Yeah.
into it. And that way you just go in with a web browser to view what's going on.
Okay.
And you can add the meters to that, and it'll actually show you the energy consumption on each of the units.
Okay.
And then you can look at the voltage or whatever on those units as well.
Okay.
So we do a lot of systems that, especially for people that have assembly factories.
Yeah.
We had one that was making insulation for walls. I think they had 60 or 70 meters. And the competitors had this giant software package, which was, I think, $15,000 just for the software package. With ours, there's no software you have to buy. The configuration software for the data or the web server is free, and it has the built-in monitoring software in it. Okay, so you don't have to. And what a lot of other companies do is they sell you the software, but you have to buy the data back. So they charge you for the data.
I explained to them we can use
Yep.
this later, you know, because
Yeah.
normally we buy from Levton.
Yeah.
It's like a big cabinet inside. You have to put
Yeah.
10 to 12 sub-meter, you know.
Yeah, it's a different sort of thing. So this one here, you can get this Measurement Canada
Yeah.
sealed. So if you're doing it for billing, we can supply this with a sealed meter. And then if they already have billing software, they could probably import this into that system as well, because
Yeah.
it uses Modbus, and that's pretty common.
Okay.
Okay, so it'd just be a matter of a different register. That would be the only difference. So it'd be easy for them to upgrade for that. But if you have a system where the guy just wants to look at each of his units to see who's using how much energy, the UWP is a simple solution for doing that. And it just gives you a little graphical interface, and it shows you the consumption, and you can mouse over and see, okay, this day, and this day.
Okay.
What you can also do with that is have it send you a report. So you can have it send you a monthly report. So it'll tell you the energy consumption on each of these units, and you'll get a. Okay. And then it'd be up for you to put that into a bill. Okay, we're not going to generate the bill. We're just going to tell you your consumption.
Okay.
Okay. So I think you'll agree this is a easier way to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, especially if you're making a lot of them. But it's quite doable with this, because you're only going to change the CT ratio and the Modbus address and the system type anyways in almost every system you ever do so. Okay. And again, 3 pages from this, and that's really all they
那个把那个
need.
线拍小红线、黑线那个。
Yeah. Okay, so that's the other thing on this one. If you wanted to, if you just want to do a simple recording, okay, I have to connect first. But you can actually connect to this and go record, and it'll record at a faster rate than we normally log. So like every second you'd get a reading. Okay, so if you just wanted to know how it was changing over time, you could do that under recordings on here. Okay. Okay, so this software is free of charge. If you have anything that requires wireless, we have a system here that uses the UWP, and it's a little module that we hook into this one. And what it does is it uses a wireless communication called LoRa, or LoRa, whatever you want to pronounce it. And line of sight between this and ours, it can be like 1 kilometer, like quite long distance. And if it's for a building, it can actually go quite good penetration through walls and that. So we have one in our office, and then we have 3 units in the back that we're monitoring wirelessly like that. The other option is we can do, if somebody already has their own LoRa network. So if you look at a city and that, quite often what they do for water meters is they have all these water meters and that using LoRa. And all they do is put it in, and it has a wireless communication, and then it goes to their system. We can do that with this meter as well. I would suggest if you get into a situation like that, you just contact us and we can help you
Sure.
do that. But again, if you have any wireless type applications, we can do something for that.
Okay.
And again, it doesn't matter which meter of ours you buy, they all will go into our UWP. So
Last time you showed me one equipment you can hook up with RJ45, right?
yeah, the other one we have is, again, this is not the only meter we have. We have probably the broadest range of meters on the market. So if you want something with a Modbus TCP,
Yeah.
you could put one of these meters, and again, you could configure it with this software. And the
Does
UWP,
this has its interface with RJ45? No.
this one doesn't use Ethernet. No, this is strictly Modbus.
Modbus.
Yeah,
And the BACnet.
Modbus and BACnet, but only
Yeah.
RS45. If you want
Okay.
BACnet or Modbus TCP,
Yeah.
which is Ethernet, then it would be a different meter. we would give you.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the most economical one.
Yeah, this is one we sell a lot of it because it has the Measurement Canada approval,
Yeah.
and it's a simple little meter. You just snap it on DIN rail.
Yeah.
Unless you want to mount it on the front of the panel, we sell this as one of our main meters that we
Okay.
push. Yeah, that and the WM20 and the WM50. They're the
Okay.
3 main meters that
Okay.
we normally
The
sell.
square one.
Yeah, because quite often they want to mount in the front of the panel.
Yeah. 他上次给我们看的那两个 flush mounted 的那个。
Yeah, so anyone that's doing building automation systems and that, quite often they want backnet. And with our backnet meters, they're BTL, which is backnet tested lab, and they're certified backnet. So quite often, if it's not certified backnet, even though it has backnet communication, they won't allow you to use it because it has to be tested. So if your meter's got backnet but it's not tested, what you end up having to do is put a tested gateway in there, which just makes it more and more complicated.
Yeah.
So if you had a bunch of these meters and you wanted to use backnet, but you wanted backnet IP, which is the Ethernet version of that, we can go from here into our UWP, and the UWP connects to backnet Ethernet as well. So there's lots of different different ways we can handle stuff. Yeah, again, from this thing, it's too complicated. Always say if you get the opportunity, just let us know. We can tell you what you'll need. Yeah, I didn't want to complicate it too much there, but
it's okay. Now we learned how to do it.
Yeah, this is a very simple meter to use. The programming of it is about as simple as I've seen from any meter. Just the two buttons here and there, and that's it.
Okay.
And following the manual.
Yeah.
That's simple. And I highlighted the page. I'll leave this with you. Again, this is available on our website. But if you just take these 3 pages, I think that's a good. If they want that, that's the thing. Without scaring it with too many pages.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah. It's very helpful.
Okay.
那我们就这样。Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
No, not a problem. This is from your source side, and then the load side is on the other side.
How could you tell? Because
It says right there H1 and that, yeah. So they got H1 and H2.
High side?
Yeah.
Exactly. High side from here?
Exactly, yeah. So that's the high voltage side.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't know if we tell you that on here. And then that's the high side on there as well. So that goes to, where is it here? Just see if we tell you on here which is the side. Yeah, so you can see X1, X2 corresponds with H1, H2. So the high side here is that, and there's your high side on this one, the black wire.
Okay.
Okay, so the black wire would go to I1.
Okay, as long as I have a label, it's fine.
It's labeled on here, so you just have to wire
number to number, that's it.
Exactly.
这个有 HEHR.
Yeah, so there's your 3 CTs, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And you can also go by the data sheet as well. Okay, I don't have.
Okay, it's okay.
But look at the data sheet; it shows you that as well. Okay. Okay, so I'll give that. Harry, do you want this or?
Yeah.
Okay.
我可以自己定。
We're gonna download it to.
Oh, you can just download.
Yeah, we're gonna download to everyone.
But I'll leave it here. That way, I mark which pages.
Oh yeah,
I'm
sure.
doing that, so you can use that there.
I already read this EM50, 600 amp and 200 amp. All the model numbers started like EM50.
They all start
Yeah.
EM50.
But they're different. The different meter.
They're all basically the same.
What's the difference?
The Measurement Canada one is exactly like the other one. It's just that we got Measurement Canada on that, so we have to put the Measurement Canada thing on it. But in terms of function, it's basically the same.
I think the
But
meter is
you
the
have a
same.
back order
Almost identical. There's one variable this one doesn't do that the non-Measurement Canada one does, but it's something nobody uses. So we standardize on just the Measurement Canada version.
Okay.
If you want it sealed, then we send it out and get the laboratory to put the seal on it, and then you get it back as a.
But we have a back order for this 200 amp meter.
Yeah, we had a rush. I
I
think.
said, what's the difference between the meter which we already got for the 600 amp?
Because that one doesn't have the 80 milliamp, right? You said.
Yeah, this is the 80 milliamp. This is the
This one is 80 milliamp. That one has.
is not the 80 milliamp.
Yeah, no, it's 5 amps. Right?
That's the only difference is with the other one you have to use the bigger CTD current transformers, whereas this one it's got because you wanted to match that other system that had all the CTs, so that went together as a package. So that's why we suggested the 80 milliamp for that one.
For that 600 amp, can I use for 200 amp too?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
This is the most important.
Yeah.
向下兼容的。
Yeah, 600 amp is the maximum on it. Usually you can go
Downward
down to 10%
downward
of the range.
10%,
So, down to as low as 10%.
compatible.
So if you have 250 amps, that's perfect.
Yes.
Perfectly.
But it has to
10%的误差。
but it has to use the 5 amps CT, right? That one not
Different
gonna
CT, yeah.
Yeah, that one won't compatible with the 80 milliamp CT. Okay.
No. Yeah, if you put that in, the current would be too low. You wouldn't get a problem.
Okay.
你用200安培的系统可以延长车辆200安，但是有240的误差，知道吧？用这个就专门。
So if you have someone that needs a meter, you can sell them the other.
Yeah, that one above 200 to 600, right?
Yeah, I think you got
600 amp.
600 amp.
600,
one.
yeah.
Is that all you got? Was it 600?
Yeah,
amps?
600.
Okay, yeah. So if a guy was measuring 100 amps or 200 amps, you could give him that one.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be perfectly okay. Yeah.
We have 600 amp.
说有误差那个
10%.
Yeah. And again, if you want a lower one, you want to bring it, you could buy a 250 amp CT with a 0 to 5 amp output. We would probably have that in stock as well. So if you have the 5 amp meter and the guy wants to buy it, if he doesn't want to use a 600 amp CT, we can give him a 500 or we can give him
Okay.
a 200, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, if you're measuring 200 amps, a 600 is fine.
Okay.
Yep. I can throw it in the box.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, not a problem.
We need a training, and then so if any electrician asks us how to hook up, how to set up,
Yep.
some people they're lazy,
Yep.
and all the electricians think they are great. They should know everything.
Oh yeah.
So they don't like to read this heavy book.
No, yeah.
So
Well,
they
you
always
should-
ask me which page, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
We shoot them the video.
so I
Yeah.
show them a video.
But this is the kind of thing, like just doing it by that, you would be confused. Okay, what's this parameter and that? But if you take those 3 pages out of that,
No, it's okay.
It's clear that it's very clear there.
During your time, I already explained it in Chinese.
Yep.
Just now.
Exactly.
This is just the ender.
And technically,
This
if you
is set up
don't
manually.
understand, if you look at that manual, you don't understand what the parameter is, you
Yeah.
probably don't need it. So.
就2个键，一个选项，一个上面摁数字的。
对啊，对啊。
对，很简单。
通讯协议不用改。
OK。
So I didn't show you the backnet, but if you do come across with someone with backnet, you can just ask, because there's a couple of parameters you have to set, like the instance number and that sort of thing. And once you change that, you have to go into a thing and say, okay, make this permanent.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as soon as you unpower it and power it back up, it'll default back to what it was. So when you use it for backnet, you have to, there's a thing called RST. Let me just see the.
其实不用看，基本里面已经都设置好。
But chances are you're not gonna be using backnet. But if you did,
是一种通讯协议。
yeah, RST. So what we do is once you go into backnet, then you can change the MAC address. So in backnet, you have to put the MAC address in there, maximum frame number, and the instant number.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just the backnet instant
MAC
number.
address 就是 hardware address.
Exactly. And once you do that, you just set that to 1, press enter, and then
Yeah.
it stores it into memory.
That's the based on the MAC address.
Exactly.
好了，这期视频我们就讲到这里。如果你喜欢我的视频，或者觉得我讲的内容对你有用，请按红色订阅按钮，并按小铃铛。如果你有什么问题或者建议，请在下面留言，我会尽快答复。也许我们下期视频的主题会因你的问题而产生。谢谢大家。